Jets beat the Browns yesterday 31-10. It was delicious. And to help us break it down is Larry Hardesty of ESPN New York Tonight and the Larry Hardesty Show on 98.7 ESPN. And Larry, what about that McCown defensive stand? This game felt like it was control with the Jets just minutes into it, didn't it?
It was really weird because being there, you just kept saying, how come you're not sliding? Like, McCown, how come you're not sliding? I mean, he had a play earlier before the touchdown he tried to get where he lost the ball. He had a play earlier where he did not slide. And then with that play, I understand you're fighting for the end zone. I understand you're trying to get there. But listen, dude, can you slide?
Yeah.
I mean, boy, he got wiped out. But it was a great game for the Jets. And the defense, gentlemen, who has gotten off the slow starts, did so in preseason, and kind of got off to a slow start yesterday, but bounced back.
Now, which quarterback hit gave the Jets a bigger advantage in this game? The McCown hit to the ground or IK and Polly breaking Gino's jaw? Which one was more beneficial?
Oh.
What?
Wow. You're happy to talk football, aren't you?
I'm so excited.
It's dirty.
I'm going to say right now, it was the McCown one yesterday, but as we look big picture, it might end up being IK over Gino. But for right now, I'm going to say the McCown one because this jury is still out on what Ryan Fitzpatrick can be.
Give it letter grade from what we saw from Ryan Fitzpatrick in game one.
I'll give him a B. He would have gotten an A, but Brandon Marshall gets the A instead of Fitzpatrick because he turned an interception into a fumble recovery and to continue the drive. So I'll give him a B for yesterday.
Now, also in that offense, that backfield, Chris Ivory, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Is this his year? Is he going to show us he's a feature back, or is this just because Cleveland's defense is a little poor?
No, I think this really shows about what this offensive line can be. And, this is a Jet team that's run the ball a lot. We know that. Rex Ryan was here for 6 years. So we know about ground and pound. We know that they want to run the football. And we know last year was probably a mistake in trying to rotate 3 backs, especially when Chris Johnson was here. And you really want to try to get Chris Johnson going. So I think Chris Ivory suffered because of that. And Bilal Powell was invisible. But I think that this is really going to be what we can expect from Chris Ivory for this year. This is what they need from him. And also, they still have depth in Zach Stacy, who I think is going to be very, very good. He was outstanding in preseason. So I do think that Chris Ivory is going to be able to run the football the way he ran it yesterday, and especially if that offensive line continues to play the way they did yesterday.
Larry Hardesty with Armin in the Vac on 104.5 The Team. Larry, Antonio Cromartie, it looks like he dodged a serious injury. Our own Adam Schefter reporting that he could play Monday. If not, he might be out for a game or two. It does not look long-term. For whatever time Antonio Cromartie does or might miss with the Jets, what do the Jets miss when he's not in the lineup?
It's a hit, there's no question, because you lose his athleticism, you lose his veteran leadership, you lose his versatility in the secondary. However, that's probably one of the more deeper positions that this team has, and it's because of the acquisition of Buster Screen from Cleveland. So I think that you can continue to move him. He's going to be your starter. You can shift him to the outside or the inside. And then really what happened, and we saw it with Marcus Williams yesterday, guys who were starters last year, who were on the front line, who kind of got torched last year, now have the experience. And listen, Williams made a couple of plays yesterday, including an interception. So they are deep at that position, and as long as you still have Rivas on the other side, I think they'll be okay in that secondary spot.
What a difference a year makes. Last year, it's we're calling guys in from the local gas station to see if they can cover somebody. This year, you're saying it's one of the deepest positions on the team.
It is, and you're right. It is a big difference. It's talent. And talent helps. It really does. It's going to be depth that's going to be important this season.
Larry Hardesty covers the Jets for ESPN New York at Hardesty ESPN on Twitter. Larry, you were there. What is your biggest takeaway? What should we take away from Todd Bowles' first game as a head coach in the NFL?
There weren't a lot of turnovers. There weren't a lot of penalties. This team did not shoot itself in the foot. There wasn't where you had too many men on the field or all the stuff like that. They were a pretty disciplined team. So I think that was huge yesterday. The other thing I took away was hey, this team scored sevens in the red zone, which is something that we talked about last year, where I came on every day. Every time I came on, I said, well, it's really important for them to score sevens in the red zone instead of threes. I don't want to see Nick Falk as the MVP again this year. And that's what you saw yesterday, that they were able to make some plays. The other thing, man, it's good to have a number one receiver. I mean, Brandon Marshall made some plays yesterday. Aside from the one we talked about earlier where he recovered, he forced the fumble and recovered it, they took an interception away. He made a couple of great catches where he made one on the sideline before he dragged his toe and went out of bounds. When you have a number one receiver, it makes Eric Decker's job easier. It makes everybody's job a little bit easier. So it's really nice to see a number one receiver, and the Jets finally have one.
Are we seeing, the emergence of a really good Jet team, and it's not just that they beat up on a bad Cleveland team?
Am I here to say, listen, hey, right now go get your Super Bowl ticket? No, I'm ready to pump the brakes on that. But I will say that at least for week one, there are things that you've seen some improvement, and every game will give us an idea of where they're going to be. For me, the last 6 weeks of the season are going to tell the tale for this team, because they've got, not in order, they've got New England, they've got Dallas, they've got the Giants, they've got some really, really tough games. They've got Buffalo, they've got some really, really tough games that they're going to have to play in the last 6 weeks. I think whatever they can do to be ahead of the game or to be really, really good going into that last 6 week stretch right after Thanksgiving is going to determine where this team is going to be if they have a chance for postseason.
Larry, I know that Todd Bowles got the game ball, but it felt like if Marshall and Revis had the game ball to give out, they would have handed it right to Fireman Ed. How big was it to have him back?
It was interesting having Fireman Ed back. It was, it originally got kind of a mixed reaction. People were kind of surprised to see him, but it was nice to see him back there. And listen, at least the chant was organized. They've tried different ways to try to do it. They've had fans line up on the field trying to do it at the beginning of the game. They've had people in the stands trying to do it. The one thing I'll say about Fireman Ed, there's only one guy that gets it done organizationally wise, and that's Fireman Ed. It was good to have him back yesterday.
Isn't it crazy to see how much of an impact that one fan makes, like in the headlines and amongst the team? We're all talking about him.
Yeah, it is. And it just shows you how bad this team has been over the past couple of years that we're talking about. Hey, Fireman Ed was back, and listen, even he saw that the team had more talent, so he decided to come back. Way to go, Fireman Ed.
There you go. Good to have him, too. Good to have you, Larry Hardesty, one of our favorites. Larry Hardesty of ESPN New York tonight and the Larry Hardesty Show on 98.7 ESPN New York. Follow him on Twitter at Hardesty ESPN. Larry, always enjoyed talking to you, man. Thanks for your time.
Anytime, boys. We'll talk to you soon.